Diary of Helen Kimball Whitney. In the year of our Lord 1890. Wednesday, New Year 1890. Slept in my west room handsome better, still snowing and lots of sleigh riding. My head ached and felt quite poorly after doing my work, but after eating dinner and drinking cup of tea felt better and wrote a little. Thursday, January 2nd. Fast day I've kept it, also hent though she's weak from sickness we're having snow plenty. Friday 3D. Feel well. Weather cold men come to work at Cannell, covered it by my gate dirt bin against it so it couldn't be opened for some time. Saturday 4th, blacked parlor stove, and swept used up for it. Had to lay down Lil dusted it besides cleaning the other rooms. Sunday 5th, read St. John's Vision, and wrote Jen's soul came forenoon to see me. Quiet day as usual, but cold and some snow. Mon 6th, Sister Ellen called sent 50 CTS for Relief Society. Tuesday 7th, bright but cold, was surprised by a call from Mr. and Mrs. Hall of Valley House. Hent got a letter from General, she went to see Flawed, I've taken care of her baby, she got me a slop pail from Coop and a pair of stockings. Wednesday 8th. Have finished my article for X at last. Point 3 Lily went with Hent last eve to a concert. I dreamed of my house being carried away with me and others in it by a flood. I knew nothing of it till the water, it seemed a creek, had risen and come to my door and into the house when I felt myself sailing. My household goods were as though I'd cleaned house and had not put anything to rights. My house went but a few rods and stopped as it came against Mary's house. Sister Anna Dinwoody called to invite me to our meeting in her ward Friday, wanted me to come about 11 o'clock and take dinner with her and some other sister. She went from here to Sister Horn's. I've taken cold. Thursday 9th, was tired out last eve, had deathly spell all night, felt so poorly, had breakfast brought to me. My cold is not bad, took quinine yesterday, kept my room all day, answered Hutchison's letter. Flawed, and her girl called towards night, had those spells through the day. Tried to do up some papers. Friday 10th. Still poorly, didn't go to the meeting though, called for too snowy, and felt too sick, got 6 parcels done up 2 to Jen. A paper came yesterday from Mr. Beard. Worse afternoon. Saturday 11th, sickest day, though have had but 2 sinking spells. Had palpitation of the heart. Lil gone to theater. Sunday 12th. Had good night, feel some better, very cold night, froze glass of water in my room. Pleasant day spent alone. Had 2 or 3 faint spells but light. Bro, Helen was here to breakfast. Mon 13th, snowing and lots better, had 1 light spell before morning. I drove my chickens off back porch 3 times last eve with broomstick. The old rooster of Charlie's stood in the snow near the porch and I couldn't shoo him away. And he was laying dead under the porch today. I feel so sorry, he was sick, I presume. Tuesday 14th. Still snowing, no let up. Flawed up towards night, had 3 faint spells today, feel the worse for them. Flawed thought some of going with Hen to Denver on business and visit Jen at Aspen. Wednesday 15, received $30 in scrip from Bro Patrick. Gave Hent $8 and $3 in meat orders for George towards Charlie's picture. Had one of those spells toward morning. Thursday 16th, spent afternoon in Hens with Mrs. Paul, and Alice Calder. Flawed's girl brought word that she and Hen started for Denver at 11 o'clock today. Sun shining and thawing. Friday 17th, pleasant day, sent by Hen for liquor and stockings. She found the latter at church store, got me 2 pair. Saturday 18th, windy and snowed afternoon with sleet. Received a letter from Jen and one to Hent, wants to come home, is in a delicate situation, hope she can come with Flawed. Sunday 19th, deep snow, sun shining. Hent wrote to General, my head ached, took ginger and soda, wrote some little. Mon 20th, cut out and nearly made me a garment and white apron. Weather cold at night but warm while sun shines. Logan has been shut out by deep snow and Cache since Friday, can't get the trains through and have a coal famine. Train just got in from the west yesterday, was snowed in, and people on it nearly starved. 1 boards at Mary's was almost famished. Tuesday 21st, troubled with gravel, did no work except cut out 2 pair of garments, felt quite sick, took tea of melon seed. Mary W. got a letter from Jen, who wrote she'd been very sick with law grip since writing us weather very cold. Wednesday 22. Lil did my washing, Flora assisting, sent a parcel of papers to Cad. Thursday 23d. Had the blues last night, but got above them. AM better of the gravel weather milder heard this eve of Lyle Woolley's husband dying today with pneumonia. Friday 24th, Hen, and flawed home again, she came up and told of Jen's true condition, and how sick she'd been, etc. Will unitedly send for them as soon as possible, as they got Ed's consent to come with the promise to help him to get work. There was a wreck on the same track that they went going, and another near Provo on their return. The men on the train all went to work to get the wreck cleaned away, which kept them back a number of hours. Lily deeply affected and crying over Jen. Saturday 25th, cloudy and windy, I feel sick, cough worse. Flat up towards night. Took quinine for my cold. The people's party out training, and the rain pouring. Point 10. Sun, 26th. Snowed most all night, but clear today. Slept more last night, but sick enough to go to bed. Cough hurt me appetite per Frank Woolley's funeral held today. Hent and George attended. Mon 27th. Dreamed of my Charlie. He'd been absent a long time, had married while at home, and going away again. I felt unreconciled, and cried bitterly. He looked much finer and stronger built than he'd ever been while living. My head not so bad today, and my lungs better, but sick enough for all that. Wrote a note to M. Wells and sent her my article by Hent, who went with L to see Lyle Woolley. Tuesday 28th, retired early, not able to sit up, never slept for half the night. Been so feeble, had to go to bed most of the day, head ached and sick at Stamesh. After dinner yesterday and today Mary W. got some medicine of Miss Vinson and brought me that took away my sickness. Hent got me some apples for dyspepsy, and George got me half-pint bottle of rye whiskey, and rock candy for cough. Have suffered awfully with pain from indigestion in the night and today. Ate only oatmeal mush for supper as it sets better. Wednesday 29th was most comfortable I've been through last night, but had sickness after taking dinner. Took breakfast in bed, as I did yesterday. Feel better when laying still, and kept my bed most of the day. George sent the money by express to Ed. Soul called to see me, has been sick with law grip. He dreamed of a wagon box full of strawberries growing on high bushes, were ripe and beautiful. He wanted some, but the man in charge told him they were mine, and another one drove up. He tried to get some of them, and could only coax him out of a teacup full. I'd also engaged them. He thought he'd get some of me, maybe said they were red and beautiful. And there seemed no fence in front, the wagons were in the road. He thought it a beautiful dream. I told him to dream of fruit out of season was trouble without reason, and I'd been full of trouble. Hope it is only imaginary. This has been a misty day. Thursday 30th. Was too sick to get up, suffered from dyspepsy and sick headache. Flawed, was up, had a telegram from Jen that they were ready to start. The money was sent, and a telegram to them that it had gone by express. Just before Flawed came, Hent had got a letter from Jen saying they'd concluded not to come. She having got my letter just after Hen and Flawed left Aspen, and from it got the idea that we'd got the thing cut and dried before they went, that we were to get up donations to help them here. But she must have got my letter written Sunday, which removed their objections and calmed their worked up feelings. Friday night I saw Heber in a dream. He was dressed nice in a light summer suit and had on fine black kid slippers, had a bright new saw in his hand, doing something in the carpenter line. Then dreamed of some strange or supernatural works, white objects placed on my wall. I can't remember well enough to describe them, but one was a human form, and some person took it off, turning the face to me, and it looked like my father. Presently I saw that they were all taken away, and there were slight marks on the wall. The dream was strange, and being so sick the next day I felt it to be no good omen. I went a drinking hot water towards night, and got relief. Hent went to to get me coal, but couldn't without an order from Orson. Flawed went and got the order and brought it. This is Friday 31st at evening. Dressed this morning better today, especially this eve. Had a little fever and headache. Afternoon George is as good as gold to ask Hent what he could get that I could eat, or take. Brought oranges this eve. And microbe came yesterday that he ordered. February 1st, kept awake by the libs last night, firing big guns, etc. Till late. Had a call yesterday from a son of brother, even P. Green book agent. I tried to bluff him off till he showed me his book from Kirtland to Salt Lake when I knew him to be a Mormon. He asked my name, and when telling him asked if I was Helen Mar Whitney, said he wanted to shake my hand, as he'd read my writings in the Exponent. I was better this morning except soreness in upper part of my left leg that's troubled me a few days, being worse, rubbed oil and turpentine on it, and my left ribs very sore from a cough. The pain went into my hip, also suffering became unbearable. Noise till sitting in a stooping position after rubbing it with, which Hazel sent in to me by George. Flawed came up, had been sick with a touch of law grip, she thinks. Hent and her Helen gone to matinee. The libs are showing their brazen trickery and open disregard for the laws of our country, determined to take our city at all hazards. Sunday 2D. Was so sick Hent I washed my neck and combed my hair before going to meeting, had my leg rubbed and covered with oil and turpentine on flannel till night, had some fever and touch of indigestion. Hent wrapped my leg and hip in cold water cloth and flannel at evening. Josh and Mary Jane called at Eve, also Mary W., who brought some chicken and cake to me, not able to eat it though. Orson went with Apostles Smith and Thatcher to attend conference Sunday, and Mon in Logan. Mon 3D. Was lots better. Hent gave me an alcohol rub and changed my clothes. She and girls washed. George got a quart of alcohol and a pint of brandy for me. Cough was relieved by turpentine and oil on flannel, but worse. Afternoon raised blood a little. Flawed and girl came up. Lou Barton called to see me. The Lord has laid a heavy hand upon two great members of Congress. Secretary Tracy nearly lost his life, his wife killed, a daughter, and her maid burned, his house completely ruined by fire. He's suffering from it. SEC. Blaine's daughter died the same day, the second from congestion of the brain, induced by law grip, the fourth death in his family within the past 35 days, and the second of his children who've died within that time from illness brought on by law grip. Congress has passed the Idaho law, and the Mormons may be disfranchised from membership in the church. 12. Tuesday 4th. The tribs kept me awake late. My leg is better, but cough is not, and have a slight pain through my right shoulder. Applied alcohol and salt to it, and my leg weather mild and looks like rain. I can walk better and have kept my bed less today. Received a good letter from my friend W. H. Beard of IND and 5 stamps with it this eve. Wed 5th. Best day I've seen. Jen, Ed, and Lee came on the 3 o'clock train. I was a shade paler from emotion, and Jen was shocked at seeing me looking so sick. Thursday 6 fast day. Orson called afternoon, suffering from cold on his lungs. Flawed came up yesterday, was sick from a cold and could hardly walk to the office where Hen was. Ed went with her. Friday 7th. Felt stronger, sat up all day. Flawed came, took the girls a ride, wanted me to go first, but I dare not go out. Saturday 8th. The people's last training this eve, flags being placed on the temple and other places. Orson's name has been stricken off the roll for polygamy, which he's never entered into. The liberals are bent upon ruling Lake. Sunday 9th. The parade last night was grand. All the folks went out to view it but me. I took care of Hent's babe, saw the people's party from my window as they passed down both sides of the aqueduct and stopped in front. The whole was grand. The liberal parade, Ed said, wasn't to be compared with it. I feel sick from having slept 2 little nights. The other night I dreamed that I saw in the News 4 or 5 paragraphs in fine print that struck me as containing a deep meaning, and I wondered if the same had impressed others as it did me. I took it to mean that this people were upon the eve of a great move. But the remembrance of all but the first 2 or 3 words left me something like a command, as Israel up, arise, an event that is being hastened by the efforts of the would-be exterminators of Mormonism. Orson is very sick from his cold. His 3 children are down to spend the day to see Aunt Jen. Hen and Flawed came up. Hent and George and children gone to Alice's. Mon 10th. Election day. Liberals outvoted the people, as I expected, their men's names left out, or arbitrarily stricken from the list when it was too late to have them reinstated through legal process, and other rascally tricks illustrative of the liberal schemers, who were not above adding names to their list during the voting. Feeling sick for want of sleep, I've lounged and slept a little to prepare for the raid of liberal fiends tonight. Tuesday 11th. After retiring last eve, a liberal gang of the scum and boys passed up our street with drums and all kinds of sounds, from cowbells and other bells and horns and yells, the awfulest jargon of fiendish productions, as if purposed, and was undoubtedly for disturbing those of the people's party. I slept better than I expected, though the guns were fired frequently and late in the night. Their crow will be short. Jen and Ed gone to spend the day at Flood's. Wednesday 12th. Felt poorly. Had a slight faint spell on going to bed, and more today. Ed thinks he can sell my place for $30,000. Hent went to see Orson yesterday. He was better, and took a ride. Thursday 13th. Had a few deathly spells last night, but none today. Sat up till evening, much better from not trying to work, snowed considerable. Friday 14th. Pleasant day. Josh Whitney called, said Erastus Hall is still very sick. His family is destitute. His wife has a babe 3 weeks old. Mrs. Baskin died suddenly Wednesday morning. Ed could have sold my place today for over $20,000, but didn't think it enough. Saturday 15th. Cloudy. Flawed up and spent a while. Jen cleaned the rooms. She got severe cough and shortness of breath. My health no better. Sunday 16th. Sol called before meeting. Zula called, and Lucy W. Kimball after meeting. My head and stomach as sick as at first. Lou and Fred Barton spent the even hence. Lily felt awfully and cried bitterly at evening. Mon 17th. Still sick. Lucy K. visited me. Orson called. Ed sold Josh and Mary Jane's lot today. Has made $100.50. Drank hot water towards night and felt relieved. Tuesday 18th. Took hot water before eating each meal and had scarcely any headache today. Windy and heavy snow near night. George gave me a $20 gold piece towards the rent. I made Jen a present of a dress pattern of green merino. She and Hent went to purchase it, and etc. I took care of Lee while they went. Wednesday 19th. Snowing but cleared up before noon. Able to do some mending. Flawed up this afternoon. A dispatch from G. Teasdale at Liverpool brought sad news of the death of Edgar D. Simmons. He died February 4th of smallpox. He was laboring in Turkey. He was 26 years of age and a kind obedient boy always. The liberal thieves are having a glorious time this eve over their triumph of S.L., and I feel that if it's possible I'll hold my homestead before I'll allow an outsider to have it. Hent, George, Jen, and Ed have gone to Piper's to a card party, and I have charge of Lee. Thursday 20 St. My cough troublesome. Received a letter from Mrs. Peyton dated 14th, and one since with a beautiful valentine to Lily. Replied today. Friday 21st. My lungs sore. Sent by Helen and got me a bottle of consecrated oil, a new book for diary, and cough candy. Sent Lucy W. Kimball $5 yesterday, by Ed Talbot, towards rewarding her for nursing me through typhoid fever. Snowed some today. I made part of a petticoat for Lee out of some red twilled flannel I had. Saturday 22d. Washington's birthday. Saturday, February 22nd, 1890. S.L. City 21. Washington's birthday. Snowed last night. Flawed here afternoon. Dan Davis called on me. Made red flannel petticoat for Lee. My cough and lungs worse. Sunday 23. Spent quietly as usual. Hent and George gone to Dolph's Helen's. There it's Newell's birthday. Mon 24. Erastus Hall died 10:30 last eve. Lil and Helen went up and helped his wife. Helen and Violet G. Taylor working in my room on Hall's robe. I visiting Flora, took some things up there. His family destitute of every comfort. I sent 2 fine sheets and 2 towels. Had call from Mrs. Dr. Barney and from Lucy B. Young, the latter wanting me to subscribe for Young Woman's Journal. Weather quite cold. Tuesday 25. Snowing. Finished moccasins for Hall. Mary Whitney been very sick. Law grip the cause. Wednesday 26. Snowed and blowed all day. Orson and Zine heard I was very sick and wanted him to administer to me, but it was Mary instead. She's better today. I not so well as I was. Thursday 27. Snowed all night. I'm poorly in body. Lucy B. called and brought the back numbers of journal for which I subscribed. Jen, Ed, and Lee gone to Flood's. Mrs. Hall called Hent gone with her to purchase things. Friday 28. Felt better. Mended my basque and took care Hent's baby. She, George, and Lil gone to funeral. Lil stops a few days. Sol called. He'd hurt his back lifting and been in bed nearly a week. Joshua Whitney called. Has a cold on his lungs. I've had slight spells of stagnation through the week. Saturday, March 1st. Milder weather. President Woodruff's 83rd birthday. Ed called at eve. Said Flawed would send for me and all the rest tomorrow. I objected facing the weather and because it was Sunday. Sunday 2. Pleasant day. Ed came with carriage and left it for George to drive. Wouldn't excuse me, so went with all the household. George came home and built fires for us, and Hen brought us up in the evening. Stake conference today and Monday in the tabernacle. Hent, Flora and little Helen had toothache last night, and Hent and Flo today. Mon 3. Storm brewing. Sister Hall and Lily came with children to spend the day. Jen, Flawed, and Lee came afternoon. My headache today. Tuesday for Lily came and helped do the washing Orson called in. I wrote to cousin Libby Walling and did up 4 parcels of papers to mail. Stormy. Wed 5. Raining this morning. Nothing of note transpired. Thursday 6. Beautiful day, fasted. Sent a donation by Helen. Phoebe K. spent a while with me. Flawed and Jen came and took us riding, called at X off. And M gave me 6 exponents of the 15th Streets, frightfully muddy. Weather warm. My cough troublesome. Friday 7. Severe cough and lungs painful, worse for going a ride, head bad again. Jen and Flawed came up and Lil and Mrs. Hall here. Saturday 8. Felt badly, though lungs healed and cough better from applying wet cloth and flannel last night. Flawed and Jen up and Lil and Mrs. Hall, the latter went out and left baby. Says Lil's a great comfort and help. Orson sent us each a picture of himself yesterday by Jen and Flawed. Sunday 9. Windy night, snowing this morn, cleared up and sun shining. Sol paid a visit and took dinner. Mary Jane called, gave us pictures of herself. I felt better today. Mon 10. Not so well, cough increased. Lil and Mrs. Hall and children came. And David Kimball from Meadowville is on his way to Southern States to fill a mission. I presented him with $5, all I had. He was unwilling to take it, but I insisted, telling him I'd be happier for it. Flawed and Jen came while he was here. Tuesday 11. Much better. Awoke crying this morn at the death of my husband. He'd left 4 pairs of old shoes, and I looked over them and took the best, thinking I'd wear them over mine when going outdoor to keep my feet dry. Dreamed also of being moved into a house of 2 rooms on the south side of this block, and was so pleased with the change, everything cleaned and inviting. Jen seemed to be working, putting things to rights in the front yard. Wednesday 12. Still better, wrote an article to be read in Ries. Meeting 14th Ward tomorrow. Sister Horn called to see if I could attend it, told her I was writing because I couldn't go out. Jen and Lee brought home by Flawed to stop. Weather cold. Thursday 13. Beautiful day, Jenny's 30th birthday. She and Hent prepared 5 chickens for a party of hens to come off Friday Eve. Sent my article to the R.S. to be read in meeting at 14th Ward. Faye took it down. Had sick headache today. Feel badly. Friday 14. Was sick last night and today. Took cup of tea for dinner, helped my head, received a heartbroken letter from Lucy written at the Logan Temple, replied to it. Saturday 15th. Kept awake with babies till the party was over 2 or 3 o'clock. But slept late and feel better than yesterday, weather pleasant. Sunday 16th. I slept good, lovely warm day. As Ed and Jen were going out to ride, I was first taken to Orson's and brought home towards night, had the sick head ache, borrowed looking backward, and commenced reading it, my head feeling better towards night. Helen attended afternoon meeting. Libby spent the day at home. Mon 17th. Cloudy, I read till head ached. Partly made Lil a nightgown, bought a book of Mrs. Lambourne written by her husband, Pine Branches and Seaweeds. 24. Tuesday 18th. Pleasant, dreamed of 2 snakes coming into my dining room, the first a large and long one, spit venom, but was demolished by members of the family. The second was shorter, but of equal thickness, and its head was just entering my bedroom under the door when I caught up a big slab and thrust the end of it upon its neck. Some woman was about to take part as I was doing it, and I told her not to. I thought they'd been in the upper part of the house probably, as it seemed thus when I awoke. They were destroyed without doing any harm. Lily came home and helped Jen to wash. I did some sewing and reading. Wednesday 19th. Mild weather, but wind blew in the night and rained a little this morn. My head not so well, read too much. Hent, Jen, and Flawed visiting Lee Barton this afternoon. Thursday 20th. Laid awake nearly half the night, felt it sorely. Juliet Croxall visited me afternoon. Brought me a nice color with cuffs and some crackers and candy from her store. She'd been sick some time back. Flawed sent sewing machine and organ home. Friday 21st. Had headache, slept too little last night. Weather fine, went into Mary K's a while. Dreamed of what Mary says signifies wealth. Lil and Mary haul down today. Made 3 sheets for Jen, finished the book looking backward. I take it as a revelation to the world on the United Order of Enoch that LD Saints will establish in Jackson Company, Missouri. Sat 20 seconds, slept good. Weather cloudy. Jen cleaned our rooms, my head has not ached today. Sunday 23D. Rainy Soul and his boy came to see me, my head better from drinking hot water, but laid awake and feel the effects. Mon 24th. Feels sick from loss of sleep, was offered $30 a month for 5 rooms by a lady directed here by Soul, and he came to use his influence for me to give up my West Wing. Thought I ought to make some money during the boom. My Helen has sore throat, this is her 36th birthday. Flawed came up, brought her 3 nice handkerchiefs. I gave her one, she had other tokens from Jen and others of the family. Sewed some for Jenny. Tuesday 25th. Arose late, had a poor night, toothache kept me awake this morning, took quinine, much better afternoon, and finished the garment, worked it yesterday. M. Piper brought hence some pretty little tumblers for birthday gift. Lily came yesterday and helped do the washing, sent to Orson for an order on BP Preston for a ton of coal, order came PR Austin Whitney. Wednesday 26th. Felt worse from sleeplessness. The snowstorm is on us. Orson came in it and we had a good visit. Did some sewing on my machine. Thursday 27th. Slept good, took hot foot bath at retiring and Fetty, but my head is no better for it. Toothaches frequently and side of my face. Drink hot water before eating, bought Dr. Hawker, celebrated German pile remedy of Sister Randall, gave $150. Friday 28th. Slept good, but head worse, feel discouraged as far as being cured by hot water remedy. Lil and Sister Hall came, and afternoon Flawed came to take me to dressmakers, but I'd got black alpaca for Lil a dress and sent her in my place. Mary Hall told me a strange dream had last night of Hall telling his present condition. Saturday 29th. Slept good and feel better than for days back, have ceased drinking hot water or anything else for the headache. Concluding to rely on the Lord for relief as I've found none from anything that I've tried. Finished second garment for Jen, cut out blocks and taught little Helen to sew them over and over. Sunday 30th. No one but Lily came to see me. Rained last night, snowed this morning, but cleared up. Monday 31st. Lil came and helped do the washing and Flawed took her to dressmakers to try her dress on. I swept the rooms, fixed L's stays, and took care of baby. Teacher Sister Allen visited me afternoon. Tuesday, April 1st. Lovely day. Sent off 5 parcels of papers by the girls who've gone out with children. I washed the dinner dishes while they were gone, quite a surprise on them, but I was used up for the rest of the day. Wed 2nd. Went to Phoebe's, found her gone, and went up to Vi's and spent most of the day. Nearly made an apron, tired me out, had to lay and rest before coming home. Flawed came up. And Lil was home. Thursday 3D. Fast day. Jen went to meeting, also Lil and Sister Hall, she'd have her babe blessed. I sent $50 donation. The suffering of the Mormons is put in the shade by the side of that of the world outside. The late Kentucky or Louisville cyclone is the greatest calamity ever befallen the U.S. Point 25. Friday 4th. Had headache yesterday from a cold and commenced having deathly spells at going to bed. Had them all night. Soul and Golden called this morning. Conference began this morning. Harriet Kimball came to see me. I've had numbers of bad spells today. Saturday 5th. Spent a bad night, appetite. Poor Sister Carson and little girl spent last night here. I swept and cleaned my room, all but the dusting Jen did that had those spells light till going to work. Afternoon made 4 sleeves for Jen's nightgowns with lace on the wrists. Lil and Mrs. Hall were here near night, gave her 50 CT meat order as she had little to eat. Hent gave her a few potatoes and parsnips to take home. Wind and dust blowing, and a little rain after they started. My throat some sore last night. Sunday 6th. Had sore throat and sick all night and today from those spells. Was administered to by Austin Brown and Marvin Pack. Had a visit at noon from Sister Peyton, Mary Whitney, and Laura Pack up here. M administered to by Bro Patterson, who came here with Sister Piper for that purpose. Soul and Zula here. Also Harriet Kimball, Fred, and Lee Barton here with baby just previous. Hen and Flawed came this morn, brought Lil's dress, got from dressmakers yesterday, making cost me $4. Conference they attended yesterday, it closed today. They have had an excellent time, and storms, though threatening, have not come to prevent it. Mon 7th. Cloudy, Lil here helping to wash, felt pretty sick this morn, still afflicted with an occasional deathly spell that weaken and sink me. Had nightmare from awful dreams, cough troublesome last night, but my throat better. Tuesday 8th. Slept better, but those deathly spells come oftener and my spirit dejected and body sick. Flawed came yesterday and today and took me a ride. I was longing for an out and grateful to have it. Called it bro. Patrick's today and get mine and Mary's allowance windy and grew cold towards night. My body renewed and heart cheered with conversing with bro. Austin Brown and wife at evening who came to see me last night was cold and windy. Wednesday 9th, coughed awfully in the night and those spells continuing so frequent weakened me, so had to go to bed. Jen brought breakfast afterwards. Grew sicker and more feeble all day. Orson called and I got him to administer to me. Thursday 10th, feel better though no appetite and faint spells still hang on. Lil and Mary Hall here. Mary went to see Orson, weather lovely. Friday 11th, Lil here helping clean things. Jen is getting kitchen ready to keep house, took a ride with Flawed and spent a time at Violet Taylor's. Her mother was there, soul called near night. I felt depressed in spirits. After going out, and the talk about selling my place for $12,000, which he thinks is all I will get, and see, added to my bad feelings. Saturday 12th. Better today, did up 3 parcels of papers to mail. Ed working for Mary W. helping to build a new kitchen. Sunday 13th. Took breakfast with Jen and Ed in my kitchen. Soul called to see if Harriet was here, tells me that bro, bull of D. News, wants to buy 15 rods of ground off of the east side of my lot and will pay $4,000 and then I can keep my house as long as I want. Harriet came to bid us goodbye. Feel the want of sleep. Mon 14th, laid awake half the night again, feel sick from it and taking more cold. L and H washing, clouding up and cold. Sister Paramore called to see Jen, promised to nurse her when confined. Sister Stainer called to say goodbye, has been home from the east a month and going to Cal with Priscilla Staines for her health. Bro. Charles Stainer's been appointed president over the mission in the United States. Tuesday 15. Feeling weaker, Ed said he'd had an offer of $21,000 for my place last eve. I went with my girls to visit Emma Piper. Helen and Flawed assisted me to walk there, and returning I was strong enough to walk alone. We met Orson and the 2 bro Stainers as we went up. Said his babe was sick. He came along as we were coming home and said it was better. Wednesday 16. Sick, deprived of sleep by a toothache till midnight, put carbolic acid in it, and it stopped. Better afternoon, and went to X off and D. News off. Jen gone to visit Lily Clark. Thursday 17th, worse cough and head aching today, got cold going out suppose. Slept more last night but feel little better for it. Friday 18th, cough prevented me sleeping half the night and sicker for it today. Lil came home to stay. Sister Hall cried when she left, so Lil is willing to go up and stop nights with her. Helen cleaned her parlor. Lil ironing for me. Phoebe K. brought me a memorial on Bro Brig death, worked and framed by some English sister. Saturday 19th. Had a good night's sleep, took bromide and hot foot bath at retiring, but my head aches and I feel sick and lonely. Lily came and did most of the cleaning. I helped. Sunday 20th. A long rainy, lonely day to me. Sickest 1-2, felt as though a change I must have, and prayed for it, that the Lord would help me out of my sickness of body as well as mind. Lily's come home to stay. She's tired of stopping away. Mon 21st. Head ached the forenoon, better afternoon. Orson called to see if I'd go and stop with him this week. Xena going to Provo. The change will be agreeable to me. Farrington cailed for me near night. Zine ready to start, and Susie Y. Gates with her when I got here. My body too weak to climb the stairs, and I chose to sleep on the lounge and dining room. Besides, I feared the taking cold to dress me away from a fire, the weather rainy and cooler, April showers, etc. Tuesday 22nd. Was sicker, my head worse when getting tired, relieved after laying down. Orson spent most of the day riding upstairs. Had rain and hail and sunshine at intervals all day. Wednesday 23d. Slept good most of the night, had a variety of dreams when I had a babe that died, then found it living and worked over it, etc. Dreamed of my mother and of 2 or 3 other women that they left for the States. Thought I was young and married to a young man, and I got the spirit of going a trip east. and was raising money. My husband gave me a gold pencil for which he paid 50 CTS at an auction or cheap sale. I wanted to put it in with my dollars amounting to $10, asked him the worth of it. He said $1.50 was the worth of it. Then I told him what I wanted to know for, and that I was gathering means to go east. I dreamed this morn of bearing a strong testimony to the principle of plural marriage. There were persons talking of it. One testimony was that a house where it was honored prospered, while one that did not dried up like a dead tree. I testified to its truth, and that my experience had proven it when the head of the house, and all did right blessings of a temporal nature poured until I couldn't help acknowledging it. That the Lord blessed us just according to our works, and so much so that I marveled at it. This was a living fact just as I dreamed it. Enjoyed interesting conversation at dinner with OF. He spent a part of the day downstairs reading, most of the time. My health much improved since morning. Read papers, and some in Doctrine and Covenants, and mended Racy's pants. He and little girls attended a picnic of the school. Had recitations and songs. We had more April showers through the day. Thursday, 24th. I am remarkably better this morn than yesterday, for which I give the Lord all praise. My prayers and Orson's having prevailed with him, truly my gratitude is great to be once more relieved. Phoebe Kimball came up to invite me to her house tomorrow. Had a spell of palpitation of the heart afternoon. Friday, 25th. Felt poorly from laying awake till 3 o'clock. Zine got home this morning, and I walked home, dressed, and went to Phoebe's at 2 p.m. Was very tired and had palpitation afternoon. Was worried over hence baby finding she'd been very sick since I left. Looks very bad. Jen and Ed have cleaned my room during my absence, and their bed is moved into the north bedroom. Saturday, 26th. Tired out doing very little. Afternoon rested and walked to X office to get papers. Flawed called after I returned. Sunday, 27th. Bro Stevenson called to give me an invitation card to a party May 1st, his 70th birthday. Sat and conversed with me upon our religion, etc., till noon. Hen and Flawed came up for a ride. Soul called after meeting Orson. Came yesterday and administered to Hen's babe. She was better than he'd been told. Mon 28th. Jen and Lil washed. This the first day that I've not had to lay down, but got the rheumatism in my left shoulder very bad, so I can scarcely use my arm. Used oil and turpentine on flannel, so it's getting better. Tuesday, 29th. My rheumatism nearly gone. Put out my lace curtains on the lawn, using me up for the day, causing nervous headache. Jen overdone with housework and ironing, and Hent with sick baby and work. Lil helped her wash. She's so overdone yesterday, and crying at night worse than usual. I administered to her and she became calm before retiring. Oh, what a life is hers. Today the first she has passed without crying. Anna Lucy K's daughter and her eldest child called. The first time I've seen her since she went to live in Cal. A storm threatening. Wednesday, 30th. Feel better this morning. Commenced an article for X. Thursday, May 1st. Fast day. Lil and Hent went to meeting. I took care of her baby, sent a donation. Lil went up to Mrs. Hall's afternoon. I gave up going to the birthday party of Bro Stevenson's. Friday, 2nd. Jen and I went with Lee and Brady to see Jerusalem exhibited under a tent. I called at X office, returning and rested. Saturday, 3D. Cleaned my west room in the forenoon. Afternoon ironed over lace curtains for the 3 windows and put them on the cornice. Had a hard time, rested occasionally to be able to go through it. Sunday, 4th. Feeling my hard day's work. Soul called and afternoon. Anna and Lyle 30 came to see us. I had palpitation of the heart, then nervous headache till night. Mon 5th. Spent a sick day paying dear for Saturday's work. Lily helped Hent I wash. I was relieved of sickness towards evening. I'm satisfied that my headache is caused by my nerves. Tuesday, 6th, went to the cheap sale at Coop and got a few things, also some dishes. Spent $5 of my own and $1.50 of Lil's that Hent gave her for helping her wash and iron. So exhausted, got refreshments at Scracy's, felt better, but had hard work to get home. Grown with weariness, took the lounge for an hour or 2 before I could sit up. Lil Clark here, and Flawed came after. Hent cleaning her dining room. Flora assisting. Wednesday, 7th. Was having deathly spells all night and part of the day. Felt so gloomy. Went out, called at TO and paid $10 tithing from there to Coop. Bought a dress for myself of woolen goods and other things. Sent them home by G. Bourne went to Dinwiddie's to look at chest of drawers, then to the drugstore, waited for streetcar, arrived at Flood's poorly enough, had 6 deathly spells after leaving home. They held up the afternoon, remained all night. Left the girls washing. Thursday 8th. Felt no better, those spells were only few and light. Flood took me a ride, called at dressmakers and was measured, went to Coop to get lining etc. for my dress. Drove to Orson's and got my shawl. He and Zine were going a ride by the invitation of Bid Young, whom we met, and his wife on our way home. Girls, glad to have me home again. Lil gone to Mrs. Hall's. Friday 9th. Another sick day. Jen also sick, being up with Lee. Nights had some rain. Saturday 10th. Better today, helped Lil clean my room. Afternoon, rimmed her hat. Her morning constantly helps to drag me down. Still troubled with an occasional death spell. Sunday 11th. Windy and threatening overhead. Soul called, is looking thin, said he'd been working hard fixing up his place and garden. Lily attended meeting. Afternoon. Friday night, I dreamed that all our people of Salt Lake, both sexes, were out with bands of music. It seemed as though they had risen en masse to protest against the unlawful injustice that had been done us by the Gentiles. I was on the outskirts with many others interested in this matter. A speech had been written, and Jenny appointed to read it. She began, but timidity caused her voice to weaken and tremble. And in great excitement I said, "This will never do. She cannot make the people hear." Where is Orson? But I did not see him and awoke. Soul's wife called. After meeting raining, I gave her a cloak and umbrella. Phoebe was here afterwards. Jen met with an accident, turned and sprained her right ankle. Phoebe proposed a hot foot bath which relieved the pain, and Ed bathed it with arnica and alcohol and bandaged it, so she was comfortable. Mon 12th. Suffering from cold, taken yesterday, cough severely and throat sore. Jen's so much better, helped do the work though her foot is swollen and stiff somewhat. Lily, feeling almost frantic, went up to Orson's this afternoon. Tuesday 13th. My throat and lungs better. Jen's foot and ankle nearly well. She and Lil did the washing. She was washed and anointed by Sister Piper preparatory to her confinement. Bro P called and she asked him to be mouth in blessing general. I asked them to administer to L, which they did, and also to me, proposed by Sister Piper. Flawed came to take me to dressmakers to have my dress fitted. Previous to their coming I went and then to a florist and bought some vines for my front portico, etc. Wednesday 14th. Another lovely day. Soul came and invited me to his home Friday and read a letter he'd written to P.K. Thursday 15th. Finished my article for Exponent. Ed and Jen took up carpet and cleaned dining room. He put it down. Sister Horn called to invite me to go to Cottonwood Saturday morning. Friday 16th. Soul sent a hack for Christine, Ruth, Amanda, Mary Ellen, Kimball, and me to visit at his house. His place is lovely. The lot on the northeast corner from him is in his hands for sale, and I'm in for getting it. I told him I wanted it and he said he'd arrange it. Saturday 17. Sister Horn and I went on the train to South Cottonwood to the annual Relief Society conference. I felt quite sick in the morning, not sleeping enough, and being so poorly the day before, but was greatly improved by going out and returned feeling well. Riding in the country to and from meeting some distance braced me up. I learned from Sister Horn of the falling of Prisenda Kimball and Bathsheba Smith out of the back of Sister Howard's carriage, both terribly hurt. Sunday 18th. Slept good and so well. Attended meeting at Tabernacle with Soul and Lil. Zine and children came and spent the afternoon. Orson called for them after meeting and took lunch. He preached this afternoon. The store of Bro Dinwiddie was burned and everything in it. It was discovered burning a little after 1 o'clock. Dinwiddie gone to the States. The new policemen and fire brigade are responsible for the destruction of the whole outfit. Mon 19th. Did up a number of parcels of news, etc., to send away. Flawed came up was sick from the trouble of Hen and family over their loss by fire, and his father absent, not having had any sleep. Soul brought Bro Moses Taylor, real estate agent, to read an agreement that I signed. Mortgaged my home for $2,500 to get the corner lot east of Soul, which he borrowed $2,500 from me to advance. It's by his counsel that I've done as I have, thinks I'll be able to sell by fall and pay all $3, $2,253,000, $2,250. Tuesday 20th. Slept so little, had headache. Lil and Jen washed. Wednesday 21st. Girls ironed. I mended my black dress and done myself over. Slept poorly too. Thursday 22d. Slept good, had a call from Jimmy Whitney and his sister Louie, the wife of Elias Kimball and Violet G. Taylor. Our street was watered today by the city. Friday, 23D. Worked in paint cleaning and moving things. Ed put my big looking glass in the northwest corner of my room and hung pictures. Zine and children left yesterday for Provo to stop a while with her sister Maggie. Saturday, 24th. Our little darling Joseph would been 2 years old if he'd lived. Flawed took me and Bratty a long ride. Called at Souls to see his home and my lot. She brought a carpet to put on Jen's bedroom floor. My forehead burned by the sun till it smarts. I felt very poorly in body. And tired out doing a trifle. I called at Vi Kimball's on returning home and walked from there. Sunday, 25th. To poorly to go to meeting. Lil has gone. Sol made a short visit on his way to meeting. Hent and George also went. Mon, 26th. Another poorly day, had a touch of pleurisy. Tuesday, 27th. Felt no better. Flawed came and took me a ride, and home with her. Found Lal Clark there, and her husband came to dinner. Had the first strawberries I'd seen this year. Took worse with pleurisy and brought home sick. Wednesday, 28th. Better this morning, but made worse by doing a few things. Jen had a girl born 28 minutes after 1 o'clock. Had doctor. I was with her and gave the chloroform towards the last. She'd a hard time. Ed went for the DR's instruments near the last, but child was born before he came back. He went for Sister Paramore, who came afternoon. Thursday, 29th. Jen has hard pains and toothache and not able to sleep. Flawed took me a ride, was improved by it. She brought my dress from the dressmakers. I paid $4.60 for the making and furnishing a few things. Friday, 30th. Poorly this morning. Jen has had but little sleep. Flawed came and took me with some of my roses to decorate the graves. Called at Souls and got some flowers. A multitude of people were out when going up a hill near our graves. The horse refused to go and pranced, and I, fearful of being turned over, insisted on getting out. She hitched it and we walked there. After strewing the flowers and watering them, we returned and visited Father's graveyard. It's enclosed by a beautiful iron fence, the monuments in the center and the ground smooth, trees set out all around. And flowers are to be set next spring. Some of my rose bushes. I've promised Sol for it. I felt better for my out, but not well enough to attend the festival. Saturday, 31st. So much improved by a night's sleep and yesterday's out. Worked about cleaning numbers of pictures, etc. Got Ed to hang them. Sent $1.25 by him to get strawberries, Utah berries. Jen doing fine. Lil cleaned my room and the others, and had an awful crying spell. Sunday, June 1st. My dear mother's natal day and President Brigham Young's. It's also Sister Paramore's. I gave her a fine embroidered handkerchief. Jen gave her a card. Lily and I attended YMMA afternoon. Had a call from Sol and Elias Kimball and Miss Finch. Afterwards, Lil gone to evening meeting. Weather cooler. Mon, 2nd. My Violet's birthday, who'd been had she lived. I attended conference this morn. Too feeble to go again. Lee is sick. Not dressed today. Dr. Ewing can't decide tonight whether it is diphtheria or mumps. Jen and all of us anxious over it. Phoebe and Kat called this evening. Tuesday, 3D. Poorly for want of sleep. Lee very sick. Sent for Orson, and after the administration he turned over and wanted to eat. Gained all day. Doctor came after and said it was mumps. There was great joy where there'd been fear and trembling. Flawed came to learn how he was. We are supplied with Utah strawberries. Wednesday, 4th. Laid abed late to regain the sleep lost in the night. Dreamed this morning of being told by a man of law that the estate of H.K.W. was equally mine with him. When I said it had been dead between Mary and me. Yes, said he, but prior to that is your claim, and you still hold it. Just then Mamie came and astonished me by saying to me in a sarcastic tone, "Oh, you're sound," as the girls were talking of the matter when she came up. I thought that I'd shown liberality towards the other branch in every instance, and if this was ever repeated I should tell her so, and that future conduct would govern my course toward them. I said nothing, though I felt offended. Lil and Mrs. Paramore did a big wash today. Lee so much better wanted to be dressed, so I washed him nearly all over and dressed him. Thursday, 5th. Fast day. I fasted at home as usual. After meeting Orson, brought Bid Young and blessed Jen's baby the 8th day. Afternoon I went down to see Sol and into the state bank for money. Drew $30, paid $15 to Mr. Moses Taylor for services rendered in getting money to secure that. Land on the bench. Soul placed $225 in the bank for me to live on at that time. My walk did me good. Friday 6th. After retiring, M. Wells came to invite me to go to Farmer's Ward today to attend our meeting and dinner at Sister Woodruff's, but I was excused, being engaged to go to Sister Simmons. I slept so poorly, kept awake with coughing, etc. Feel it sorely. When I got home this eve, found Lil had cleaned my room. Saturday 7th. Helen was very sick this morning. Lily went and helped her after her own work was done. H was soon relieved. Afternoon, I went down to Savage's with a picture of Kimball reunion to be framed and to Gracie's for some cream cakes. Jen up and dressed today. Sunday 8th. Flawed and Hen came and spent a while. Also Soul, I went with him to meeting, had a good meeting. Lil up to Mrs. Hall's last night and today. Mon 9th. Had a windstorm towards night. Hen began to wean her baby today. Lee out to play. Tuesday 10th. Lil and Mrs. Paramore did the washing and the latter went home this eve. I gave her $4.25 over the $10 that Jen paid her for nursing her a fortnight. She did so much of the housework I felt obligated. Jen working around. Wednesday 11th. Feel sick from sleeping so little these 2 nights. Clark had a party and their noise was hideous half the night. It was his 16th birthday. Lily did part of the ironing and housework with Jen's help. Jen made a pie and blancmange for dinner. L is in the glooms as usual. I worked some on my nightgown. Thursday 12th. Another per night sleep and feel it sorely. Worked on an old dress for Lil. Bought more of Mrs. Randall's pile medicine. A German with spectacles, etc. called. I bought a pair with gold bureaus to see near to and at a distance. Mr. Hutchison called on his way to Denver, he said, with his wife who had not time to call. Going on today, Flawed came and took Lil, Jen, myself, and little ones a long ride. Weather cool and fine. Friday 13th. Cool night, but almost a sleepless one and feel it sorely. Went to T.O. and little Helen and express with me to bring some potatoes and butter home. Went to Coop and got $5 of George to help pay for my glasses, which were $10. Soul called to tell me that the 2 rods of land in front was to be secured to me within a month. Saturday 14th. The hardest and sickest yet. I had my room to sweep. Lil helped dust it. I had to stop many times to rest, made sick by sleeping too little. Jen's face gathering and pains her awfully. Sunday 15th. Soul called on his way to meeting Lily and I attended and tired out before going. Besides worn out from sleepless hours at night. Mon 16th. Some better, but still feeling the want of more sleep. Jen's face better, her gown broke. She's wonderfully strong to work. We have plenty of strawberries for the table. M. Wells came for me to go to A.R.S. Con and Dr. Barney called with her buggy, but there was a high cold wind and sprinkling, so I dared not venture. Sister La Wooley's boy died today of pneumonia, aged 2 years. Tuesday 17th. Some better. Helen went to the funeral of Lyle's little boy. Mrs. P. helping Lil do the washing and Jen doing housework. Wednesday 18th. Felt better though still wanting sleep. Took a ride, also Lil with Sister Dinwiddie and Flawed. Went to the state bank and drew $35. Lil stop at home, and I went home with Flawed to stay the afternoon. Got 9 dinner plates and 9 yards calico and cream pitcher ATO. Thursday 19th. Stayed to Flawed's and went from there to our conference. Felt sicker today from not sleeping enough. Sister Horn, Bathsheba Smith, and I were invited to Sister Stevenson's to dinner. Bro Horn brought us home from meeting. We're invited to attend another in 2nd Ward next Thursday and one at Granger next Wednesday. Friday 20th. Went and paid $25 cash tithing and $5 for general. Called on Soul at Johnson's drugstore and at Exponent off. And T.O. got butter and turnips, also some paper and envelopes at store. Saturday 21st. Lil had my room cleaned when I got home tired yesterday. She's cleaned some today and feeling sore throat that commenced yesterday. Quincy, I expect my cough worse. Slept good from a dose prepared for me at Johnson's drugstore by Mr. Pratt and feel stooped from it today, and sleepy. Didn't feel any worse for taking laudanum the night before. Flawed called yesterday and today but not to stay. The weather quite cool and pleasant. Sunday 22nd. Slept good and drowsy still had to give up to it and lay down numbers of times. Lil's sick in bed soul called this forenoon. Mon 23D Lil pretty sick gave her pills which operated in the night. I was up early to wait on her, but Jen took my place getting her toast and coffee and made one sit and eat breakfast with Ed. To her kindness there's no end. I cut out a wrapper for Lily towards night. Tuesday 24th. Lily suffered all night. Neither of us slept much. I put oil and laudanum on her neck, and it seemed to help her. Went to Coop and bought me a duster, and got 2 white petticoats and 3 fine waists at the cheap sale. Gave Lily and Jenny one of each. Got one for myself and 1 nightgown. Lil very sick with pain and fever. Wednesday 25. Was up and down waiting on Lily, rubbing her neck and face, and gave her laudanum as she begged me to that she might get sleep. She rested but little though till her throat broke early this morning, bringing relief. I'd promised to go to Granger to R.S. conference and was sent for this morn, but could not leave Lil. Only Sister Horn went. Am expected to attend one tomorrow in the 2nd ward. The weather cool and threatening rain. Forgot to mention Sister Paramore coming here Monday eve to wash Tuesday. She did the most, Jen assisting in putting out the clothes and rinsing, with the housework too. Thursday 26th. Lil's up and dressed though very weak. I left at 10 o'clock and walked to Flaud's. Not seeing the streetcar astonished myself and frightened. Flaud to see me there, she said. I started to take the car to the 2nd ward, but not doing seeing it, concluded to go there and get taken. Stopped till after dinner and was taken to the meeting. Sister Horn and B. Smith came later. There was a cold rain at the time but cleared up and was quite warm. Sis MacGregor took a number of us home with her to tea. We had a good time. Friday 27th. Spent a bad night, laid awake a good portion, and sick from that and griping bowels in a bad state. Had to have toast and tea in bed. Felt some better, and got up. Was so well yesterday. Felt greatly encouraged. Sunday 28th. Up and dressed. Was so bad Friday. Had to undress and go to bed. Bilious colic. The cause relieved at night, so I rested considerable. Yesterday was relieved of pain, but had some fever afternoon and eve. Orson and Zine called she to see Jen's baby and invite me to ride with them after bedtime. Those awful spells took me unusually hard and lasted all night. Easing up at morn, took a sponge bath of alcohol and dressed after 10. Flaud and Sister Dinwiddie came to see me then. Sol, who said he'd just come from prayer circle where he and Orson had me prayed for, and I ought to be better. I've been feeling better ever since I arose. I told him had but a few through the day. Mon 29th. The folks up early. Ed started for the south to Moroni to spend the week putting up machinery in a mill to be built there. I feel better though not recovered, besides that my feelings are sad from the effects of those spells. Had none since last eve, till this afternoon had 1 or 2. Towards night had an invitation to ride with Violet Young and Fanny Thatcher, and appreciated it. Went to the Grove and was much refreshed by the bracing air. July 1st. Orson's 35th birthday. I never slept till midnight. Awoke early and Lil arose, got another short nap, dreamed of Horace and James Jack coming to the house. Looked as though he'd been sick. I awoke with a deathly spell. Am very weak in body. Lil and Jen washing and I watching baby about watering my lawn. Afternoon refreshed in the open air, so I went to the safety bank to Souls and Coop where I paid $1 for a white necktie for Orson, but couldn't get to see him. A box of raspberries were sent to us by Ed, came late, and some so jammed we had to steam them before going to bed, keeping us up late. The girls very tired. Those spells coming on me occasionally. Wednesday 2nd. Didn't sleep till after midnight, but felt better than yesterday till after my chores were done, and I'd washed and dressed Jen's baby. Then a bad spell came prostrating me somewhat. Dreamed of driving out, was in a poorly state just as I am. Was alone in my buggy and the horse fell flat and got up again, and went on without the least excitement on my part, and seemed to know as well as me the road to take. I called at Dinwiddie's to have Flaud, I believe, go home with me, but can't remember any more. Had 1 or 2 faint spells in the night. Jean Kimball came to see us and spend a while. I sat outside to get the fresh air. This our hottest day. Thursday 3D. So much better. Worked at Lil's dress, nearly finished it. Orson came to thank me for the gift sent him last eve. Guns and firecrackers going off awful hot, but a cool breeze after dark. This is fast day. Friday 4th. Took dose of laudanum last night to ensure sleep, but Though affected by the noise and firing of guns at decks and sea drove it away, so I slept no more than usual. The fire bell sounded and the opera house was burned just after it was emptied of an audience. We'll be glad when the 4th is over. Went with the rest to see Procession. Soul and family came along and asked me and girls to go down to his office L, and I went. Pretty good show, but the footman waited in mud because of free water sprinkling. The flag on the opera house fell into the fire just after the hour of 1 had struck. The 4th. Their doom is thus made plain to us. Afternoon, I did a little sewing. Hentai treat us to some cake and ice cream. I couldn't eat the first, the latter was nearly melted, but I ate a little. Tuesday the 15th of July. This is the first day I have been able to dress since the 4th. The little melted ice cream I ate made me sick. Commenced griping and had to go to bed in the early eve. Brought on gastric fever the 3D day, and I sent for Dr. Ellis. Ship have suffered terribly and left very weak. The fever has lasted till yesterday. Orson called this morning. He's been to see his family in Provo. Miss Cook came and spent a while yesterday. I was unusually feeble in the forenoon and exhausted easily by being talked to, but she told me some interesting things of the Indian tribes, etc. Soul took my name to the prayer circle twice since my sickness. Orson has administered to me. One night last week I dreamed of being up by the mill. Horace and some woman were there. A snake was laying on the side of the aqueduct, reached from there to opposite my place, its head right near us. I was startled, but Horace got something and struck it, cutting its head in two, and 2 more pieces off. It was of a lightish color. This sickness has driven out my worldly ambition in building. If I can't enjoy anything of this world, I may as well be rid of responsibilities and cares. Flaud's been up nearly every day, is preparing to go to N.Y. with Hen. I've a poor appetite, can't bear coffee nor tea. Wednesday 16th. Felt very feeble this forenoon, more so than yesterday, and had to lay down, but was better afternoon. Weather cloudy, has been hot and oppressive most of this month except mornings. Flawed and Hen bid us goodbye at eve. They start in the morn. She is sick from a cold and overworked. Thursday 17. Stronger and arose and dressed before breakfast. The heat is awful, the cook stove in the back room adding to our discomfort. Friday 18. Weather threatening. Orson called this morning. Girls hard at work. I'm improving. Saturday 19. Stronger, but overdid myself reading and doing up papers to mail. Fruit came and girls hard at work to save it. Sunday 20. Straightened up my room and exhausted myself. Girls very busy. Orson and Soul called Jen, got a lunch for them. They went from here to meeting. Lily and Hent also went. George took me, Elle and Jen a ride. I felt poorly and no appetite today. Weather cool and somewhat cloudy. Lil gone to evening meeting. Mon 21. Cool, improved after dinner, ate quite hearty for me. A postal came from Flawed at Denver. They were well and enjoyed the trip. George Bourne got me some wine and Peruvian bark to tone me up. Tuesday 22. Not so well, have not slept good for 3 nights, awake all latter part of the night. Received a postal today from Flawed. We're at Omaha, feeling splendid, had cool weather so far. Jen and Lil washing. While laying down this afternoon, a deathly spell came on. Have not set up much till towards eve. Worked a few buttonholes on Elle's dress. Wed 23. Better slept more. Wrote a few lines to Flawed. Jen gone to mail it and get some things at Coop. Thursday 24. Jen went to matinee and took Lil, Lee, Helen, and Brady. I helped take care of her baby. A quiet day, saw nobody outside our family. A few guns fired and firecrackers at eve. Friday 25. Horace's 67th natal day. 43 years ago today, he entered this valley. Being sick with mountain fever prevented his coming on the 24th. I laid awake 3 hours on a stretch ladder part the night. Appetite not good. Weather very hot. Saturday 26. Felt the best that I have at all. Joshua Whitney took me in his buggy to the saving bank, where I drew $60 to pay taxes and $25 interest on my land on the hill. Took me to get my new spectacles fixed by the man I bought them of, and to courthouse to get my taxes reduced. Met Bro Fox, and he saved me the trouble of climbing the stairs by taking the notice to Judge Smith. From there we went to Mary Jane's, and from their home. Sunday 27th. Laid awake latter part of the night. A stitch in my left side makes me feel worse. Forgot to mention Sister Dinwiddie's calling yesterday to bid us goodbye. Started last eve for San Francisco with 2 daughters and son to stay till Sep. Lil gone to meeting. Just returned, said Orson preached pleurisy. Took me in left side, applied oil and turpentine, which helped me. Mon 28. Slept better, but darting pains again through my shoulder and under the blade makes me feel sick. Jen feels badly from her cold and Hent from bowel complaint got a letter from Flawed we're enjoying pleasure and cool weather in Chicago. Tuesday 29. Laid awake part of the night, did a little sewing and wrote to Flawed's soul called and gave me a letter to read received from Helen Violet full of venom, lies, and blasphemy against Mormonism and Joe Smith in reply to his letter etc. to her. I wrote to Flawed not to visit her. Wednesday 30. Did more sewing weather hot, but cool nights can't sleep good though. Thursday 31. Worked too much yesterday, not so well today, but finished my chemise a cool breeze blowing. Friday, August 1st. Feel sadly my loss of sleep, and per appetite did some sewing. Hent went a visiting and took G with her yesterday and to the lake today, leaving her with us and taking the older one's soul called and read me a good letter written to date in the Southern Mission. Saturday 2nd. Cooler night and I slept more. Orson came to see me, has been in Provo a few days. Wrote to Flawed after resting me on the bed. Jen filled the 4th page to her. Sunday 3D. Still cooler this morn, have felt very poorly having to lay down much of the day soul, and his Farney were here to lunch before meeting. Lil went to meeting. Orson was one of the speakers. George got home. Mon 4th, slept last night but griped this morn, and my bowels bad, felt too sick to sit up and kept my bed till afternoon, was better after part of the day, wrote a few lines to Flawed in Jen's letter, commenced having deathly spells, had 3. Tuesday 5th, clouding up, girls washing, ate my breakfast at 10 o'clock, had those spells frequent though light latter part of the night, and afternoon had none, soul called with a letter written to H.V. Kimball in reply to a wicked, lying one from her. Wednesday 6th. I took in the seams to Jen's basque, the girls George and children and Mary with family, and I went to the lake and spent the afternoon, and Ed came at eve. I was tired out at start. And the ride and all was torture to me. I never want to go again till I'm in better health. I with Lee returned before sundown with George and family and went to bed, was so weary couldn't sleep for some time. Thursday 7th. Was taken griping, grew worse. My trip to the lake hurt me. Friday 8th. In bed all day sick with bowel complaint and headache. Dr. Barney called at eve to see how I was. Sister Sarah M. Kimball had inquired of her how I was, and not knowing came to see. Saturday 9th. Dressed and sat up part of the day, weather cooler. Orson and Zine called in the morning. She goes back to Provo, and he with her. He'll return in the morning, he said, and would call. I got him to write to BP Preston to let me have a ton of coal. Dr. Ellis, our ship, called near night to see how I was getting along, wrote a prescript for a tonic. I paid her $5 order for waiting on me. Oh, quite a bill. Austin Brown called at eve, gave Lil a good lecture on her yielding to mourning instead of trying to shake it off and be reconciled to little Joseph dying, did her good. Hope it may last. Sunday 10th. Had a wakeful night and not so well for it. Still griped, and poor appetite, can't gain much strength while in this way. Orson didn't come, but soul did. He'd been administered to afflicted with his kidneys. Lily attended afternoon and evening meeting. The weather is predicting a storm. Mon 11th. Slept pretty well but laid in bed till dinner time, no relish for food, and soon went onto the bed laying till nearly 6 when I felt bad. Combed my hair and answered a letter that came today from Flawed in N.Y. She'd felt ill-treat not receiving a word from home since leaving and so anxious about me. I think she's got our letters ere this. Wants me to send her my measure immediately. Jen went to get me a tonic to Coupe D.S. and wine, etc., and other things. Ed went with her. An electric wire broke and fell, causing a terrible furor on the main street with fires flashing in various directions. A steady rain set in and thundered and lightened quite heavy. Tuesday 12th. Cloudy morn, cleared up till afternoon, rain towards night. Ed went and got me some diarrhea remedy and to post APC and express a box with my basque to Flawed. Juliet Croxall came to see us today, being her birthday. I presented O's picture to her. Wednesday 13th. Improved in strength though appetite still poor. Clear morning but clouding up, dreamed of numbers of the dead being around me, and of Flawed being a little girl, and of having a young babe, etc. Monday night dreamed of being at Sister Preston's with a few others, spending a few days, had a babe, and had been out buying things, bought or was given numbers of yards of bonnet ribbon for Flawed. and I was loaded with things to start home, as 2 or 3 others had come to stop with Sister P. I thought it quite an imposition upon her, and that I'd leave. When finding me loaded up to go, she presented me with a quantity of pretty ribbon she had laying on the toilet to give to Flawed. Dreamed the night before of Flawed being a little girl. Thursday 14th. Improved in body, received a letter from Flawed. She'd received our back mail and felt grateful. Mary E. Kimball came to stop tonight. She's been sick. I walked out into my backyard for the first time since my last relapse. Jen went and bought me a bath and sprinkled a little. Friday 15th. Had a poor night's sleep. Weather real cold and cloudy. Rained a little here. Storms in the mountains. Orson called this morn. Little Helen is 7 years old today. Yesterday, I purchased a small bead chain of a peddler woman dark as an Indian and a pretty bell for table. The chain I presented to Helen today. She was presented with a set of large dishes by her pa and other gifts from her little mates who are spending the afternoon with her and their mamas. 4 or 5 deathly spells have visited me during the week. Saturday 16th. Lovely cool weather. I took breakfast in the kitchen while Jen cleaned my room. The fire comfortable. Orson called and sat a while as fasting. Towards noon, Clark called to see if Orson was here. Wanted to go and break the awful news to Mary Jane of her Laurent's killing himself with a pistol. This was a dreadful shock to us all. Orson was not here, but he soon called to see if Jen and Hent would go. He felt that he could not until he'd got composed. Jen had gone, and after returning, Hent went and stopped to leave, leaving her little ones with us. Josh brought Jen home and had lunch with me. I'd lounged, being weary and overcome and not wanting dinner when the rest ate, having breakfasted so late. Oh, how well we know how to sympathize. May our Father deal merciful with them as he has with me and mine, I pray fervently. Sunday 17th. Blessed with sleep last night, and this morn bathed and ate breakfast near 10. Spent afternoon alone. Jen and Egon with Babe to Dolph's Hent to stop with Mary Jane and Lil to meeting. Alice Calder came to see Hent, and Lil has come from meeting. I've read President Woodruff's sermon at Logan and considerable in my father's history. Dolph and family walked up with Jen and Ed. Hent came after dark sick with her head. Orson sent word by Lil that he was going to Provo to bring Zine up tomorrow to funeral. Mon 18th. Slept good and grateful for it. Mr. Farrington took Hent and me to Mary Jane's at 1 o'clock. Mary was greatly surprised to see me there as well as pleased. I laid down a few minutes. Zine was there. Orson delivered an interesting and beneficial discourse. My feelings were wrought upon by the sorrow I witnessed, and the thought of its being 4 years this month since my heart was rent and my household's by a similar circumstance. I was able to feel their depths of sorrow. A great many were there, and many beautiful tributes were brought, and they covered Lawrence's grave. On my return home, found a letter from Flawed bearing good news. The weather in N.Y. quite cold from a storm on the 11th, and she'd had to buy a jacket. Today has been very hot here. Tuesday 19th. Weather greatly changed by another storm in the mountains. We had a sprinkle only, but cold enough to shut my door and windows the most of the day. Mary Ellen came bringing a present of a Mormon book to Lily. A picture came today of Hen, Flawed, and Alonzo Young taken by Niagara Falls for background. Received city tax notice yesterday. $56.80. Moved hooks and eyes on my new dress, being too tight for comfort. My laying awake last night and giving vent to sorrow. My head has ached and felt poorly the forepart of the day. Wednesday 20th. Slept more last night. Jen real sick, cold on lungs, and Lee had croup last night. And Hent has a cold. Dreamed of being in a large carriage driving a span of horses. The reins were of silk, not an inch wide. They'd worn off till I couldn't hold on when the horses turned. The left one slipped from my hand once, but I caught it and went on safely. Thursday 21st. Slept too little to feel well. Jen had a bad night and sick, but slept afternoon while I tended Babe and feels better. She took quinine also. She and I received letters from Florence, all good news. We mailed a letter to her today. I dreamed last night of being in a large company and Uncle Joseph Young was there. It was time to go home, and though I had not seen him, heard him say he would take me home in his buggy. I looked around inquiringly, and so did others, but heard no more, and awoke. Lou Burton was here at eve, with her baby. It's thundering and lightning quite hard. Friday 22nd. My 62nd birthday. Sick from an almost sleepless night. Laid till noon, but slept hardly any. Sent by Hent and got a sleeping draft. She presented me with a silver thimble with name on it. Jen gave me a bathtub made of paper. Weather last night and today warm and sultry. Cousin Jeanette came from Payson this morn, quite a surprise to us. Her health is poor but better than mine. Saturday 23d. Slept good but feel poorly, cough worse. Wrote to Flawed, received one from her before closing, said they were well. She'd sent me a black silk dress pattern and would get it made when she returned. The weather has turned quite cold. Sunday 24th, cold in the house. I have taken cold, feel worse that yesterday, though slept tolerably. Soul called, feels better for his trip south. Lily attended both meetings. Whitney home from Kanosh, been sick up there. Mon 25th, coughed and had a poor night's rest, lungs paining me. Lil helping Hent wash. Relieved of cough by putting oil and turpentine outwardly and taking lemon juice, sugar and laudanum and quinine helped. Tuesday 26th, felt poorly, poor appetite. Received a letter from Flawed, answered it towards night. Gave cousin Nettie my photo pair of spectacles and some things to clothe herself this winter. Wednesday 27th. The parcel from Flawed came in express. I paid 60 CTS. It is grosgrain silk, black, 20 yards. This another poorly day for me, better towards night. Lil and Nettie gone to theater. Thursday 28th. Feel better, took Fetty instead of the drug, only awake an hour or two. Got on duster to walk out to try my strength when I was attacked with vertigo. Laid down till better, had very peculiar sanations. This had been a very warm day. Friday 29th. Another hot day. Hired Farrington to take Jeanette and myself a ride. Jen and Lil with children accompanied us. Gone over an hour and a half. Paid him $3 for it. Mrs. P. from Logan was here this forenoon. Amanda K. came to see Nettie. John Whitney was here and Mary Jane, with Lodi called in at Eve. Orson called. Hent and children went to Farmington today. Saturday 30th, slept good and up to breakfast. Clouded up and dust blowed and a light sprinkle. George had breakfast and dinner here, expects to go north tomorrow. Mrs. P came again today, bid us goodbye. I relished my dinner today for the first time very lately. Sunday 31. Up to breakfast and able to do more than yesterday. Tended Jen's baby. While she and Ed went to the springs and tired out, laid down and rested till dinner. Had a deathly spell while resting and a return of them several times afternoon. Quite prostrated me. Jen and Lil went to meeting baby, slept till it was out. Sister Eliza Gray's sister Rala and Amanda Kimball came home with them from meeting, the two latter to see Jeanette. George brought his family home. Baby's been sick and Hent worn out tending her. Monday, September 1st, was quite poorly. Afternoon had many bad spells. The girls washed and I helped nurse baby. Gave George a nice handkerchief, it being his birthday. Got a letter from Flawed, answered it directing to Chicago. Tuesday 2nd. Worse from those spells, and a little work, was weaker and quite prostrate before night. Jen not well. Ed got work of Vincent. Had an invitation to visit at Bud's tomorrow with Mary Grew and Violet and others. Wednesday 3d. Still poorly. Orson called, hearing of my poorly spells, told him how I'd wished to have 2 or 3 of strong faith administer to me. Not having faith in doctoring, he proposed my going to fast meeting tomorrow. There being more faith there, said he'd come and take me in George's cart if he could get it. Miss Cook called and spent a while. George Bourne took me to Bud's at dinner time. Had a pleasant time. Joshua was there also. Orson, Mary Whitney and M. Wells went to Provo. George came and brought me home at Eve. Sister Simons was here to stop all night. Thursday 4th, had a poor night's sleep and those deathly spells all night, was feeble. George took me to fast meeting where I was administered to by Brother Shutter, Patrick and Orson. The latter came home this morn. Sister Simons went with Lily to meeting. Bro Horn invited me to ride home in his carriage. George came for me just as I was seated. Jen and Hent with children had gone out visiting and Nettie gone to see Prudence Gibbs. Ralph. Friday 5th. Better and stronger, though slept poorly and had those death-like spells every little while, and still troubling me today. Got a letter from Flawed, still in N.Y., but tired of sightseeing and will be glad to be home again. Jen poorly, took cold yesterday. Received $28.26/100 on the State Bank of Utah from Juvenile Instructor Office for my books. They sent for 200 copies more. Mary Ellen came to see Nettie, who is out, weather cold and windy with a slight sprinkle. Saturday 6th. Another per night's sleep swept my room. Lil dusted it. Jen making preserves, etc. Sister Jane Simons left today. Quite cold weather, wrote to Flawed. Jen's suffering from neuralgia. Sunday 7th. Better night's sleep, but awakened before daylight, makes me feel badly. Soul took dinner with us. Lily went to conference. Read some and wrote a little more to Flawed. Mon 8th. Feeling stronger, went to tea. Oh, office and Coop bought Nettie a jersey for $1.50 and flannel for petticoat at tea store and gave her. Finished letter and mailed it to Flawed. Feel sadly the want of sleep. Jen made plum preserves. Tuesday 9th. Slept more but still suffering from one of it. Girls washed. Mary Jane and Lady visited at Hens. Josh here also. Dreamed of Charlie being home. He had a finger on each hand. That part had been severed off, and he'd done something towards healing them. He came to me and said if I'd give him $5 that would pay for the curing of them, and I took my purse and handed him a gold piece that I'd got the day before in change at the Coop. Wednesday 10th. Had enough sleep at last to feel well. Got up at 9 o'clock, took the last sleeping powder last night, clouded up and thundered and lightened, and sprinkled. Orson called on his way to depot, gone to Provo. Went over papers and did up some to send away. Weather more sultry. Jen making pear preserves. George has had the East Shanty boarded over and an entry added. Thursday 11th. Storm passed over. Slept too little and worse for it. Friday 12th. Slept till midnight, then laid awake some time. Never slept after daybreak. Had nervous headache and palpitation of heart and sick all over. Took catnip tea to try the virtue of that. Phoebe Kimball and girls got home from San Francisco. Race Whitney came here last eve to sleep. Oh. And Zine stopped to Mary Jane Gru's. Phoebe came in to see us at Eve. Has enjoyed herself all the time. Read in the news of Soul meeting with an accident that's likely to destroy the sight in his left eye and trying to drive a wire nail. It flew into it close to the pupil. Dreamed of Uncle Joseph Young coming and eating with a table full of Mary Whitney's folks and mine. When I saw him eating, I said I knew by that he had his resurrected body. He had come to inquire for someone whom he wanted. I didn't know who it was. Saturday 13th. Took foot bath and Fetty last night to help me sleep, but to little avail. Feel better though than yesterday. Swept my room, using me up for hours. Nettie and Lil had tickets of M. Whitney and went to matinee. Sunday 14th. Although I took a sleeping powder and was nearly asleep 3 or 4 times, was prevented by Nettie's cough till at 9 o'clock. Was awake for half the night, couldn't sleep, and was desperately sick from it by spells all day. George took me up to see Saul, found him gone to prayer circle. Felt so poorly, had to lay down. He soon came with G. Born, who'd come for me. Flawed having arrived. She looks fine and feels splendid. Brought me 2 sprigs off from the tree in front of Father's house in Nauvoo, set out by him, and a piece off from a brick that she found loose, and a moss from the inside of the well that was under the Nauvoo temple. They inquired of the present owner of the land, once covered by it, the exact place where the temple stood. He replied, the front steps were exactly where the grass stopped, there being not a sprig upon the ground where it stood, but growing green all around it. Something very significant in this, the first time I ever heard of it. Mon 15th. Slept more but feel sorely the want of it still. Flawed up near night and brought some presents. Mine a pen wiper with a peach on it. Sister Dinwiddie sent me a black lace for my shoulders. Everyone with Jeanette were remembered. Zine among them. She was here, and Mary Jane and late with her. Tuesday 16th. Our washing done. I slept good on bromide. Phoebe Kimball had a visit from a burglar Monday night, though they took nothing but a dress, placing it on the ground to hide the footprints. The parlor window being the entrance, one of the costly curtains was pulled outside and torn very badly. Flawed called just at Eve had been cleaning all day. She said Wednesday 17th. Lil and Jen and children went to Mary Jane's. Had a call from Soul. His eye is getting along as well as could be expected. I had another good night's sleep, took bromide. Flawed came and gave Jeanette, little Helen, Brady and myself a ride. We called and shook hands with Hen's mother and sister, and then went and called on Lyle Clark. Her twins are doing well. She has a bad breast and nipple sore. Thursday 18th. Laid awake some time. Flawed sent for me Jeanette and Lil this morn. Little Helen went with us. Spent the day. Hen drove us home near 9 o'clock. There was a public of all the workingmen this evening, but all quiet and nothing to be seen of them when we came home. It is feared that serious trouble will come of the strike. Friday 19th. Had a wakeful spell last night and was up later than usual, but improved in strength during this week. Part having slept better nights. Went this forenoon to T.O.'s office, rested a while, being tired out. Found E. be. Wells gone went to Savage's and left O's picture to be framed for Juliet. Croxall sat a few minutes and called at Gracie's, bought crackers and cakes, and a bottle of soda water, refreshed myself and walked home. Had to lay abed for hours, being tired completely out. Sol came for the picture of our brick house in Nauvoo to have some taken from it. He laid down and slept some time. Don't sleep good nights. His injured eye hurting him, so our sister Liddy Lowry and her 3 little boys called to see us, also Lyle's 2 boys. Saturday 20th. Slept good till towards morn. After a wakeful 2 hours or more, took a second dose of bromide, took breakfast at Hence. Jen cleaned my room, and I cleaned a little in the kitchen. George gone to Logan. Ed and Jen gone out to see the Union Men parade tonight. A mixed crowd of Mormon boys and liberals. Sunday 21st. Slept good part of the night, too little to feel well. Poor Lil sighs and sobs weigh upon me. She has headache daily, is up at daybreak, sleeps too little. Hen and Flawed were here a few minutes, had been in the country. Lily gone to meeting. Mon 22nd. Stronger though, sleep too little and feel it though I took laudanum, was late getting to sleep and disturbed in the night. Sol came, laid down and slept quite a while. Has neuralgia in his head from his eye. I cut 2 pair of garments for Lil and nearly made 1. Juliet called, and I presented the picture. Orson's Mary Kay was here a while. Tuesday 23d. Ate onion last eve as a remedy for insomnia. Slept about as usual, went to tithing store and got 2 pairs of women's underskirts. Then to X off. Gave Jen 1 pair of underskirts. Wednesday 24th. Better today. Flawed came afternoon with Mary Jane Grew and Lady in carriage and took me and Lee a nice ride and treat us with a drink of soda water and bought me cough drops. Wrote a letter to Mr. W. H. Beard. Thursday 25th. Better. Jen and children gone to Flawed's. Bratty sick with a cold. Lily's low spirits and crying worries me night especially. Friday 26th. Poorly for lack of sleep and rheumatism. Flawed sent a carriage to take us to Juliet's. Hent and Jen walked, we taking Brad, and Genevieve. Flawed sent the carriage to take us home. Suffered most of the day with piles and weariness. Saturday 27th. Laid awake as usual though I took bromide again. My cough still bad. Jenny cleaned my room and the windows outside. Sunday 28th. At home as usual, and pearly in body. Flawed and Hen here a little while Lily went to afternoon and evening meeting. Mon 29th. Worse than yesterday. Slept so little though taking bromide. Sol was here a while. I have rheumatism in both sides. Tuesday 30th. Spent at Flawed's. She sent for Nettie and me at 10 o'clock. Jen and Lil doing the washing before coming. Rained last night, and when we started clearing off afterwards, Mary Jane and Lady were there too. My rheumatism worse and sleeplessness. Withal. Wednesday, October 1st. Spent in bed towards eve. Napped a little. Sol was here a few minutes, is better of neuralgia. Brought and gave picture of our home in Nauvoo to Nettie and me. Thursday 2nd. Stormy Mary had a rag bee, and I dressed to go but went to bed sick. Had a chill and slept enough to make me feel better though my shoulders and see painful. Went to Mary's towards eve to see the folks. Friday 3d. Conference another chilly spell about noon, same time as yesterday. Spent less time in bed than yesterday though Orson called weather awfully cold. I prepared strychnine and put it under the floor and in mice holes elsewhere. Tired completely out. Jen blacked my parlor stove and Ed put it up at eve. Saturday 4th. Had a cold night, better in health though had to lay down some. Sister Tate and daughter took dinner here. Bro Hubbard, his wife, and granddaughter came at night. Lil gone to Mrs. Hall's to make room. They say the conference was splendid and crowded. We've real conference weather. Sunday 5th. Another splendid outpouring of the spirit at Con. Sister Hubbard sick all day in bed, could take nothing but a little warm drink. Her granddaughter left, and Bro Hubbard at Con. Jeanette gone home this afternoon. Her son, Sam Cushion, came a while before she left and accompanied her to Depot. George having got a fine carriage and span of horses to take her and her outfit. I gave her $250 for her fare, but Abe Kimball gave her a half-fare ticket, $1 being the sum. I've been better today than for some time. The weather quite rainy. Mon 6th. Sister H. Better. Bro H. came from meeting full of the spirit that the conference. Voices filled with proposed praying with his wife and me. Made a beautiful prayer for us and the saints, etc. And in bidding me goodbye blessed me over and predicted good things concerning me. His eyes filled with tears when doing so. I was filled with faith and the spirit of the gospel. They returned to Willard after conference closed. This has been a fine day. Ed worked without any dinner and sick with fever. Tuesday 7th. Rained 4 part the day the girls washed. Mary Smith informed me she was going home tomorrow and asked if Lil could go with her, so I went to work, almost in desperation to fix over and patch Lil's winter dress. I felt still stronger. And to my astonishment worked all day till 10 o'clock getting the needfuls done and packed. Hentai helped me expecting to start at 8 in the morn. Ed suffers from his head, but went to matinee with Jen. Lil helped take care of children. Wednesday 8th. Slept poorly being overdone last night. They've concluded not to start till 4 o'clock today. Mary Smith's little girl being sick all night. I belted a couple of shimmy skirts for Lil for her to take not having time yesterday. Austin and wife called in to see me. Ed feels better. I fear it is typhoid fever. Thursday 9th. Rainy day and dismal. Ed feeling worse. Marvin Pack's wife died this morning with typhoid. Flawed called yesterday in time to take Lil and Mary to depot. Said she'd been sick. Friday 10th. Slept good. Mended sleeves in a basque of mine. Got tea. Oh, orders from bro. Patrick sent to Orson for order on BP Preston for Cole. One of Lyle Clark twins has died. Hent went down and spent part of today leaving children here. Flawed was there most of the day. Soul called has got neuralgia in his head again. Saturday 11th. Feel more poorly. Taken cold and got headache. Jen swept my room besides the other work. I bathe and dress baby since Lily's gone to help Jen out. We're having rainy weather and our first snowfall came this afternoon. Hent gone to Lyle's baby's funeral. Ed saw a DR today who thought he had typhoid fever but would decide tomorrow. The ground and everything white with snow. Sun 12th. Mountains covered with snow. My body weary, doing a trifle towards the straightening of my room. Jen helped me out. Sisters Alan and Laura Pack spent a little time with me, and also Marvin Pack, whose wife daughter of Sister Alan was buried yesterday. I read the sermons of President Woodruff and G.Q. Cannon. Mon 13th. Sun shining, no clouds this morning, and I feel well. Once more clouded up again. Tried to write prevented by baby Ed still ailing. Tuesday 14th. Not so well. Tired out quicker. Think I've taken cold. Got headache and some fever. Ed still under the weather. Jen washed and did housework. Hent got an awful cold on her lungs doing hers yesterday. Raining last night. Sun out looking fine this morning, but clouded up again. Wrote to Lily's sister. Alan called, wanted to get clothing for Indian Joe's widow and children. Gave her a warm basque that was once Flawed's and a black skirt of Lil's with a lot of old stockings. She said the squaw had nothing on above her belt. Orson called, said the 2 little girls they thought had typhoid fever. Wednesday 15th. Able to sit up half the day doing nothing to tire me out. Wrote a little. Heard from Lily. Wrote her a letter. And did up her articles to send by express. Hent went up to see how little Emily and Dimps were. They were well enough to ride out as Zine came to bring Hent home. She asked me and Jen to go with her to see Flawed, but it was too cold for me and Jen. Too much to do. Lee went with Hent and children. Thursday 16th. Felt strong enough to sit up all day and wrote some on an article for X afternoon. Flawed walked up here to see me and was used up. Looked sick enough to be in bed. Is worked down. We all felt badly knowing that she will not stand it long if there's not a change made. She feels disheartened at her prospects, and we all do. Juliet was here too. Ed has taken more care of baby and saved my strength. Friday 17th. Weather mild and lovely. Not feeling so well from laying awake part of last night and the night before. Head bad from that and sticking to writing, which I enjoy but hurts me. Ed is a little better. Mary Kimball came and sat a little while the sewerage is being dug in front of us. Saturday 18th. Another lovely day. Got tired out doing a little afternoon walk to the X off M. Was going to Ogden. Inquired if I was able to go out of town to attend meetings. Told her I dared not do it. Called at D. News for some papers with the manifesto bro. N. Gave me 5 of the weekly containing minutes of conference. Got our baby a pretty blue coat knitted for $125. Very tired from the walk but rested and felt better for the out. Ed received a telegram this eve from his mother that his father died this morning. Sunday 19th. Lovely till afternoon. Clouded up. I've been tired out all day doing a few things. Soul came and took dinner with us. He told me he'd paid my taxes on the lot beside of him amounting to $20, that he'd take his pay from the house rent up there. Mary Jane and Violet Grew and little boy spent a while here on their way from Lonnie's grave. Jen got them a lunch. Ed's got rheumatism in his knees and I in my arms and fingers. Jen went and got him wild sage to make him tea. Mon 20th, rather cold but pleasant. Flawed took me out called at Oculus opposite Temple to get glasses for myself. Ed some better. I'm troubled for sleep. Tuesday 21st, Jen washed Ed not so well. Sewerage being dug in front of my place. My cough worse last night and today. Wednesday 22nd. Pleasant day. I helped Ed take care baby. He went to see some DR feeling more reduced in strength. Jen did ironing and housework, felt blue she said, and it's no wonder. I feel sorry for both of them and that I am not strong enough to help more. Thursday 23d. Weather real warm, slept sound all night for a wonder, wrote more today than usual, dreamed Wednesday night that Soul and I had made an exchange of places. I was settled in his house, had it whitewashed, and everything was clean and white. I was so satisfied. I expressed myself to some woman that had called in. I feel like I'd come out of H_____ into heaven. Jen ironed and has sewed for baby and made a dress for herself this week, besides doing the housework and other things. Hard from Flawed, who's sick again. Friday 24th. Feel lots better, though I never slept till after 2 o'clock. Took laudanum to put me to sleep. Did a little writing, and my head has not suffered today as it has previously. Soul came to see me about paying the interest on the $1,000 due for my lot. Bias said he'd get it extended. Hent and Jen went to see poor Lal Clark, second twin, is died of cholera infantum. Saturday 25th. Slept good, tired out tending baby. Jen swept my room. I partly dusted the things. Sister Crowther came to see me. I had a dreadful spell before she left and another soon after. It's nearly 2 months since I had them last. Sunday 26th. Flawed came and spent a while this morning, felt better, but is miserable enough. I preached to her quite a sermon upon how she should do by herself and live to have faith in the great physician, etc. She told me she tried to, and of impressions she'd received after she had prayed that were quite striking. Soul called a few minutes. I hear that Orson preached at Tabernacle. I've not felt very well, got tired out. Mon 27th. Weather still fair. Frank Y. Taylor called today to have me sign a paper, paid the $1,000 due on my lot on the hill. Soul was here afterwards, and went to bank to get the cash which they loaned me. I went to X off to get back papers to D. News for the Saturday paper, as the carrier brought me Friday's news in place of Sats. Met Orson and asked him to save me the climbing of the stairs. He did so. Shook hands with Joseph Kingsbury and Bro Nicholson by the off. Went to the Equitable and Coop stores. Bought a warm shawl at ladder going upstairs for it. Met some old friends, quite a treat to get out. Got candies, crackers, and cakes at Scracey's. Tired out before getting home. Dr. Barney came to see how I was, hadn't seen each other for some time. Tuesday 28th. Sat up too late feeling its effects and sleeping poorly. Soul came and told me he had got things all straight, my place paid for, etc. And my county, etc. taxes he could pay all but $10. Gave him that and $44.80 to pay city tax and $15 to pay my water tax. Thankful to have it done with. Flawed came and spent a few hours, told me she walked to Tabernacle with Hen Sunday and back home, felt no worse for it, but better. Enjoyed Orson's discourse. She walked here, but Sister D came for her after 4 o'clock. She told me some peculiar impressions that came to her when praying at various times. Wednesday 29th. Lee quite poorly. Jen washed. I took care baby some and wrote to Lil and Mary Smith. Had rather a wakeful night and feel it. Thursday 30th. Helen's and George's wedding day. Wrote a little. Felt pretty well this morn. Slept on bromide and laudanum. Jen overdone with the work and Lee's worrying. Polly was here at Eve. Friday 31st. Enjoyed a good night's sleep without taking anything except onion for supper as usual. George gave me $10 for the rent. Jen had a letter from Mrs. Talbot, who feels pretty sad over her husband's death and wondered that I hadn't written her. Ed feeling better, wants to go to work. Saturday, November 1st. Jen cleaned my room and did the other work. I did more tending baby. Have taken cold in head and throat. Sunday 2nd. Had a bad night, but better in the morning. Orson called on his way to Grosbeck's to preach a funeral sermon. A child 2 years old killed, its head crushed under a wagon wheel. Oh, is suffering with a sore throat, etc. No one else called here through the day. I tried to write to Mrs. Talbot and had to stop and lay down, so sick from my cold. Took quinine. Mon 3D. Feeling worse. Jen washing Ed gone to work. Lil got home from B. City came with Mr. Right and Hattie Whitney. She went to work with Jen. My cough is awful. Jen went to drugstore at Eve and got painkiller and paregoric for me to mix with syrup. Doctored myself with that and lemon sling and wet bandage around my head and took quinine. Tuesday 4th. Felt the worst, coughed and had an awful headache and pain inside, as well as lungs last night, relieved latter part of night, and slept. Pills took yesterday morn. Operated at 12 o'clock. I had a dream the other night that there was an evil power hold of me, pressing something across my neck and down at each side, from which a something I can't describe arose. And knowing it to be the power of the evil one, I tried to rebuke it and made the fourth effort before I could do it. When I rebuked it in the name of Jesus Christ, I was awake when I did it. Last night I had a dream, thought the priesthood was being reorganized, and one man in one place was taken and placed in his true position while the other had to be removed. This was going on when I awoke. I can't remember the whole of the dream, but the interpretation was plainly given. Wednesday 5th. Cloudy and windy, worse this morning than ever, felt better at Eve. Physic operated again. Thursday 6th. Cloudy. Had a good night, but coughed terribly this morn and continued all day. Bro, James Little called here to see if I had any record or letters of fathers, wanted to place them upon record with Brigham Young's, but I had none, I told him, that had not been published. Felt better towards night as usual and wrote some. This is fast day. Friday 7th. Coughed all day and sicker and weaker. Sister Beckstrom and another teacher came in, and I gave $1 order on tea, for the poor. Saturday 8th. Weather colder. I'm free from pain in head and neck. Took pills last night. Cough a little better, but worse at night. Not able to sit up much till late afternoon. Jen cleaned my room. At going to bed, took coal oil 2 teaspoonfuls and soaked flannel for lungs. Sunday 9th. Colder, my best day, but I cough hard by spells and have to take a swallow of liquor to get relief. Lil went to church. Soul came after 4 and ate dinner. Jen had chicken for dinner. Orson preached today. I ventured to take a bath this morning. Cough worse. Flawed and Hen came before noon and spent a while. She's miserable in body and they've concluded to board when he is finished. Made me a hot lemon sling before retiring. Mon 10th. Awake late from coughing and had another spell in the night, and had little else today. It's so tight and deep set, hurts me awfully. Appetite not good. But I'd be soon well if this cough would leave. Tuesday 11th. Weather cloudy and windy, ending with snow. Lungs bad, disturbed with cough, so didn't get up till 10. Coughed most of the day, straining my left side. Had to take some care of baby girls washing. Lounged after Jen took her afternoon. Had a deathly spell and felt sicker. Jen sent Roy to Orson for order to BP Preston to get my coal. Wednesday 12th. Fine weather arose after 10. Spent a dreadful night having those awful spells, and no cessation till nearly morning. Had a little respite between them, but still afflicted with them. And cough making me feel dreadful. Dreamed that Flawed had been away to school and just came home, and Charlie had been off to work and had come home but not to stay. He was sitting at my right with his face near mine. I said, "Charlie, you must not leave us again. I cannot stand it to have you away." He smiled and looked at me and looked the most pleasant and natural that I've seen him in a dream. I finished my article, though I was sick with those spells. Thursday 13th. Orson and Zine came near 9 last eve. Race was in to see me near night and told them how awfully sick I looked. I was in a deathly spell when they came, administered to me, and I took oil inwardly. My lungs were relieved directly. Have not coughed so much today. Sent for M. Wells to come over to read my copy. She came and spent quite a while. She was pleased with my article. Those spells have been frequent all day. Zine came with her horse and carriage and took me and Lil and Leah ride. Called to see Flawed and found her on the bed. Had been very sick, threatened with the same as she had over a year ago. Has quite a fever now. Jen, Lil and children baby too came very near being run over this morning coming from market by a runaway span of horses. Last night dreamed of moving with a company by an underground passage deep down and returning for others. And things met other small parties moving secretly by the same passage who looked pleased to have got away safely. I felt afraid of being betrayed when I was back after things and fearful of being recognized by traitors, so I hardly dared look up at anyone. Friday 14th. Another night and day of suffering. Zine came and took me. Lil and Leah little ride near night went to see Flawed, found her in bed, where the doctor ordered her to remain a week, has inflammation in womb. On my return found Jen cleaning my room, felt better when riding in the cold air. M. Wells came about noon, I having sent for her. She read my article much pleased with it. Stayed quite a while for her. I had those deathly spells every few minutes through the day. Saturday 15th. Had deathly spells all night and all day, reducing my strength and spirits, poor appetite to boot. Sunday 16th. Took a bath, felt brighter for a while, but having deathly spells so often and no cessation, grew sicker all day, went to bed early. Rachel and Henriette Simmons came to see me, also Laura Pack and Mary W. Forgot George B. Took me out riding half an hour, felt better while out. Lil went to meeting Jen and Ed, went to see Flawed, she was feeling better. Orson had been to administer to her. Mon 17th, felt the most feeble this forenoon, but those spells growing lighter began to revive somewhat afternoon. Phoebe K. called and sat a while, girls washed and Jen now gone to dressmakers to be fitted. Soul had a daughter born today. Tuesday 18th. Better though still afflicted with those deathly spells. 1 week today I've had them. Went over a pile of newspapers, sorted out some to mail, used me up till I felt worse, my head aching and a dull pain around my heart. Wednesday 19th. Better than I've been for some time, but tired myself out dressing Jen's baby and doing a few other trifles. Rested after she, Lil and children left for Flawed's to spend the day. Afternoon finished doing up papers to mail. Took dinner and hence the girls home after dark. Said Flawed was up and dressed, and that Sister Dinwiddie will send for me on the morrow. There is trouble threatened from Indians north and east. Thursday 20th. Not feeling so well, slept poorly is the cause. Went to Flawed's, found her not so well as yesterday. Jen cleaned my room. Ed took down cornice and dusted curtains. He's engaged to nurse a sick man for $25 a week. Came home to tell Jen and went back to stay the night. Today has been cloudy. Friday 21st. Spent a sleepless night and been sicker all day, cough some worse. The sun shone today as bright as ever. This is my Charlie's birthday, would been 26 if he'd lived, bro. David died on this day 7 years ago in St. David. Charlie was there with him. Saturday 22. Horace died 6 years ago this morning. What an experience I've had since then. Last eve I took laudanum and slept good, felt like a different person. Jen went and got her dress. Lil and children went along. I let out my new basque today. Sunday 23d. Had another good night, took paregoric. Jen and Lil went to meeting Ed, and I took care of baby. Commenced a letter to Dade Kimball. Mon 24th. Got up after 10 and took a bath. Did not sleep good at night though I took paregoric. Lovely weather, and girls washing outdoor. I taking care of Jen's baby. Sisters Allen and Twiss Young called to see me. At eve my sister Sarah Sickles and Geen Kimball called. Tuesday 25th. Quite poorly in health and spirits. Finished a letter to my brother David, and at eve wrote one to cousin Nettie in reply to one from her. Wednesday 26th. Felt worse from laying awake. Dr. Ellis Ship called. I paid her another $5 for waiting on me through gastric fever. She's been sick with rheumatism and has it now. Took care of baby. Some Phoebe K. and Mag Jennings called and sat a while. Flawed sent this morn to know if I'd spend tomorrow with her Thanksgiving Day. Thursday 27th. Thanksgiving Day and pleasant, spent most of it to Flawed. She's better, but had to lay down most of the time. She played a little on guitar and sung 2 songs. I was poorly, not sleeping good last night. This is Lil's 33d birthday. Friday 28th. Another poorly day, not sleeping enough. Sent a note to Soul with a letter to D. Kimball for him to address it. Soul told Helen that Zula's babe was only 7 months. She met with some accident, but they were getting along all right. My article is out in the Exponent. I see in a notice. In the D. News. Jen cleaned her room. Lil helped Helen iron today. Saturday 29th. The best day I've seen. Left my room for Jen to clean after my breakfast, having laid in bed to get back. Lost sleep, it being near noon. Went to X off. And spent a while there and got my papers. Met Sister Raleigh, Aunt Zena, and Pricenda. Called at T.O. store. Was not but a little tired when I got home. Josh and Mary Jane came and spent a while. The weather's still lovely. Mary Kimball came in this eve with her grandchild. Sunday 30th. Had a poor night's sleep and not able to sleep after daybreak, though I tried till 10. Took a bath and dressed. Soul came to see me. He's named his baby for the two grandmas Violet it's to be called. Lil went to meeting afternoon and evening. Jen got a turkey dinner today instead of on Thanksgiving Day, as they dined that day with George and Hent. Mon. December 1st. Girls washed and I took care of baby and did a little work. Tired completely out and retired at 6 o'clock, not sleeping much the night previous. Tuesday 2nd. Stayed in bed late to try and sleep. Got one little nap. Feel better than yesterday. Finished the work begun yesterday. Have to take bromide and something every night. Wednesday 3D. Not able to do anything. Had so little sleep. Cloudy weather. Thursday 4th. Fast day. Spent afternoon in bed, but slept no more after daybreak. And had nervous sick headache after breaking my fast at dinner. I took nothing last night to make me sleep and prayed for help. Slept more naturally towards morning than for a long time, but not enough for what I've lost. Lily went to meeting and took my offering. Friday 5th. Mostly spent in bed. Nervous headache from too little sleep. Took pills in the morn and got relief. Ed got his right foot hurt. Box of irons that he and 3 others were lifting from a wagon fell on it from the carelessness of the man opposite him. Saturday 6th. Had a good night's sleep. Took a pill of asafoetida last eve. This my most comfortable day since last Tuesday. Sunday 7th. Spent quietly as usual. Lil went to tabernacle. I've not felt so well today from overdoing yesterday. Mon 8th. Took care of baby while girls washed. Tired out sis. Snow the teacher called. Did up papers to send cousin Libby x Snow. 5. And 6. We had a cold night, but the sun is out bright again. Tuesday 9th. Up early. Prepared for Stan Clausen, who was to come at 7 o'clock to pull my teeth. Waited till after 10, then took my coffee, etc. Had eaten a slice of bread when he and Dr. Benedict came. Stan said that was not enough to do any hurt. Doctor administered either, and I knew nothing till after 10. Teeth were drawn. My gums quite painful till after using a wash that he prepared. Wednesday 10th. Felt much improved. Jen went to see Flawed towards night. She was improving. Thursday 11th. Orson called finding me in bed. Brought me a $10 order on 20th Ward Coop store and one for Mary Whitney. I asked what it was for, and he said, a Christmas gift. It came in good, as I've run low in cash and my place is not yet sold. Lal Clark called before I was up, and it was 10 o'clock before I had breakfast. Ed went to work this morning for Vincent. I've felt worse today than yesterday. Flawed came in Miss Benedict's buggy, whom she happened to get to ride with, and just after Zine came they spent a little while with us. Friday 12th. Very poorly from 2 little sleep. Girls cleaning shanty. Soul called. He's lost his baby. Died of jaundice. Zulia had a pull back since she got up. I'll retire at dark. Saturday 13th. Took laudanum and secured a night's sleep. Feel splendid. M. Piper called, and I engaged to be taken to Souls in her carriage. She said she'd send it to take me and bring me home. The weather is cloudy. My girls, fearing to have me face the severe cold, persuaded me to stay at home. Helen went to the funeral. Orson and Zine were there. He was one of the speakers. He and Zine passed here horseback just previous. Sunday 14th. Orson came at 11 o'clock as I was eating breakfast, and spent a while. Had quite a pleasant visit and interesting conversation upon the latter-day work. Sister Jane Simons was here before meeting and took dinner with us after the close. Lil went with her to meeting. We had roast chickens for dinner and etc. The day has been pleasanter than yesterday. Sun shining and not so cold. Mon 15th. Feel the effects of laying awake another night. Took laudanum to make sleep come. Girls washed. I took care of baby a while. Another fine day. Tuesday 16th. Felt the best I have for days. Had a good night's sleep is the cause. Phoebe Kimball visited me this afternoon. Lou Barton came. Spent the evening with her baby. Wed 17th. Slept poorly. Flawed came and spent the afternoon. I did some work. Sunshiny day. The war has begun. Sitting Bull and Son have been killed. Thursday 18th. Foggy. Slept by taking laudanum. Flawed came with buggy and took me to dressmakers to have my silk dress fitted. I did a little work previously. Took laudanum before night. Friday 19th. Stronger than for some time past. Ed put stove in dining room. Raining a little. I took paregoric. Hired a poor foreigner seeking a job to get eatables to saw wood. $4 for the job. Saturday 20th. Storming in the night. Cleared off afternoon. Laying awake part of 2 nights makes me feel sick today. Jen and Helen making fruitcake for Christmas. Jen cleaned my room. I finished some sewing tired me out. Sunday 21st. Spent an awful night deathly spells preventing sleep grew harder till afternoon was in bed till after 2 o'clock Soul called on his way to meeting Hen and Flawed called after meeting where they'd been. Lil went and took Lee Bud and family called it hence I was there I've felt sick all day. Have had fewer spells though since 2 o'clock took my breakfast about that time laid in bed trying to sleep but all in vain. Mon 22nd. Had a tolerable night but took cold yesterday and Helen's and cough worse. Had a dreadful spell near noon turned cold and followed by stomachic sickness Water Brask received a letter from Bro Dade, written at Solitude N.C., where he was laboring. Dated December 14th Mary Jane and Lady called in and read it. Jen went to 12th Ward store and traded part of the order that Orson gave me. I made out a list of the things wanted grew sicker towards night. Took laudanum to bring sleep. Tuesday 23d. Had a good night, only 2 spells, one at going to bed and one in the night. Orson came to see me at 10 o'clock while eating my breakfast and sat a while. Went with Jen to tithing store, got a warm shawl there and gave it to her. Went to X off M, proposed my being administered to. I went into her room and Apostles D.H. Wells and Franklin Richards administered to me. The spirit of prayers and blessing rested upon the latter, he being mouth, to a great degree. This is the 8th birthday of the prophet Joseph. Wednesday 24th, sick for want of sleep and a cold. Brady, also sick with this distemper, and there's much sickness in town. Thursday 25th. A sick day for me, but it was Christmas spent in receiving presents and callers. Hent and George gave me some felt slippers, little Helen a black muslin apron, and Jen a nice white one. Race gave me some note paper and envelopes. Zine sent me a magnifying glass to read with. She sent Lil a long nightgown, and all the rest something. Ellie, M. and George Piper, LOL, and Clark Whitney gave me tokens. Also Lou Barton and Flora Taylor remembered me. Florence and Hen brought me a set of silver knives and forks and my silk dress they brought home. It is made beautiful, my birthday gift from them. I gave little tokens to my daughters and to Zine and Soul's wife and their little girl, my namesake. I could go no farther this time. Josh, Mary Jane and Lady called. They were invited to Els to dinner. We were invited by George and Hent to a turkey dinner. Orson called on us. Jen's baby quite sick and Lee has the distemper. Friday 26th. Got up about noon, felt so sick and head ached that I went to bed. Lee was sick by the side of me. This cold is raging everywhere. The day is lovely, and so was Christmas. Saturday 27th. Head better, but feel sick all over. Don't sleep half the night, and have to lay late to make it up. Lee still sick. Jen nearly so from loss of sleep. Another pleasant day. Mailed Orson's poems to cousin Libby Walling. Sunday 28th. Little sleep as usual. Felt weaker this morning. But recruited after eating near noon. Soul called on his way to meeting Lil and Hent gone to meeting. Jen sent Ed to the theater last eve for Orson. Lee was so sick he came, and also Zine administered to Lee, and he was the best this morn that he's been. But his lungs are bad, yet baby feels poorly, has quite a fever and cough. My cough is worse. Mon 29th. Had a good night's sleep, took 2 pills of Fetty yesterday. Baby no better, Lee improving. I washed and anointed baby and administered to her. Her fever abated, and her breathing was more natural, which Ed noticed and spoke of. I've held her considerable as Jen washed with Lil. Mrs. Peyton was here today. Tuesday 30th. Rained a little, children some better. Jen had another per night sleep, baby crying so much. Mailed a letter to Nettie, took care of baby considerable. Feel the want of sleep. Invited with family to spend New Year's at Hen's. Wednesday 31st. Slept so little, feel it sorely. Children still poorly. Lee worse last eve with his cough. Jen applied coal oil and blistered him back and front. His cough's better for it. I administered to baby and she seems better. Lee took cold yesterday laying near the window and coughs frightfully. Weather still fair.